Okay. Just waiting for the camera.
Oh, that's what's that? That's a really important thing.
Really important. Allah is please. Shukran lak. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu wa sallam wa barak. Ala nabina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. طيب. So we'll continue where we left off last week in the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. And as always, we begin with a review of last week's lesson. And as always, we have treats for those who can answer the question. Now what we're going to do here is fill in the blanks, as you can see. So I'll give you the statement, and then you tell me what goes in the blank. If you answer correctly, I'll give you candy, okay? All right, so let's look at number one. Number one says, the historical sources have recorded blank of Ibrahim's visits to Mecca. Looking for a number. Looking for a number. Let's start with the sisters this time, huh? 4. Ahsanti. Perfect. 4. Who can deliver this to the back? All right. Number 2. Number 2. During his blank visit, Ibrahim saw a dream. Okay, looking for a number. His first visit, I said. Good job. All right. Number 3. Ismail married blank women from the tribe of blank. I just need the first blank. First blank, huh?
2.
Ahsant. MashaAllah. Yes, salam. All right. From the tribe of Jurhum. Ahsant. Yes. All right. Ismail's first wife blank to Ibrahim about her and Ismail's poor standard of living. Looking for a sister, and it's a verb. Looking for a verb. Huh? Somebody. Yes? She complained. Ahsanti. Good job. Good job. All right. All right, number 5. Ibrahim said, tell your husband to blank. Now this is an expression. Okay, this is the whole expression, a phrase that he used. Say it.
To watch his doorsteps.
To watch his doorstep?
To change his doorstep. To change his doorstep.
Yes. Good job. Good job, Hussein. Perfect. All right, play. Now it's going to get harder now. What did Ibrahim mean when he said that? Fadal. Huh? Okay, change the wife to what was the word used before? Say it louder.
Divorce?
Yes, to divorce her. You wanted him to divorce her, unfortunately, right? Is that what you wanted? You didn't want that one. Which one did you want? This one's good. That's your favorite. Okay, good. All right, next one. Why did he give Ismail this message? Any of the sisters? Tafadali. Yes. I don't know if I can give it to you, Sheikh. They might get mad if I let you can. You already answered, right? Do you know the answer? Hold on. So why did he give Ismail this message? Why?
To change his wife.
Yeah, why? Huh?
To change his wife.
Okay, but why though? Why did he give him this message? Tell the Sheikh.
She complained.
Because she complained, right? Because she complained and she didn't host him and she did a few other things.
The answer is not right.
What's the answer?
Ungrateful.
She was ungrateful. Alhamdulillah. All right. All right, number 8. What lesson can parents, wives, and future wives learn from this? I'll give 2 pieces of candy for the one who gets this one right. Okay? What can you learn from this? Tafadhal, Sheikh.
How to obey Allah's rules.
How to obey Allah's rules?
Not complain.
That's not a bad answer. That's always a good answer. But for this question, I need something a little bit different. Did you answer already?
Yes.
Let me give a chance for somebody else who did not answer. Do we have any of the sisters who want to answer this? What lessons can parents, wives, and future wives learn from this? Huh? To be grateful is not bad. That is not a bad answer. Not to complain. Father Sheikh. He didn't get the one he wanted. All these answers are not bad, right? They're not bad.
You give us the answer and get 2 candies.
I get 2 candies, right? So the lesson that parents, wives, and future wives can learn from this is to teach their wives, or teach their daughters. Parents should teach their daughters. And wives should learn themselves, and future wives should learn that a wife should what? Should have certain what? Qualities. And among those qualities is what? She should be content. Okay, she should be content. Things are not always going to be great, but whatever they have is usually a lot more than what other people
Don't have.
exactly. Right? Okay? Alright? So content. Another one is it's important for the wife to be a good what?
Wife.
Good wife. Good. The wife should be a good wife. Good. She should also be a good hostess. A good hostess, right? Okay? And she should also, when she speaks, she should say what? She should say good things, right? She should say good things. Like the second wife of Ismail, when she described his father, she said what? A distinguished, elderly gentleman. And she went on to speak what? Highly of him and say good things. But the first wife, she said what? She said bad things, right? She said bad things. Okay. So who should we give the candy to, sir? Jibril says, give it to me. You just walked in, Jibril. All right, good job. Very good job. All right, so before we actually start the second lesson, I wanted to talk about a couple things that were brought to my attention last week. All right, the first thing is there were some complaints about some of the young girls talking during the lesson and being disruptive.
They are not here tonight.
They're not here?
They didn't come here.
You sure? I don't know about that, Sheikh. But at any rate, I just want to say that it's important for parents to kind of be close to their children, monitor them, monitor their behavior, and make sure that the children are what? They're engaged. They behave and they're not being disruptive. And if a sister or a brother next to you does like this, or does this to your children, don't respond and say, they're teenagers. That's not a good response. That's just stating the obvious. We know they're teenagers. It's almost as if they're teenagers means that what? If their behavior is excusable because they're teenagers. No, if they're teenagers, they're about to be what? Adults. So if they're not trained now, when are they going to be trained? When are they going to understand this? And one of the things that always amazes me is how, for example, if one of us were to take our children to a doctor's office, without us having to scold them or reprimand them or tell them, they know exactly how to behave. Our children go to the doctor's office, they sit down, they get a book, and they read and wait for their name to be called. Same thing, we take them to the library. Same thing, they know how to behave. Why is it that when they come to the masjid, they don't know how to behave? If it's not something automatic, which it should be, It's something that we have to what? Let's teach, let's train, right? We can't just sit back and say, hey, they're teenagers, what do you want me to do? That doesn't work. That brings me to the next point that I want to make as well. And that point is that the parents, Jazakallah khair, they're bringing their children to the mosque for the program every Friday. The turnout is off the charts. The children are coming. Parents are bringing the children. They're coming. And that's good. But when a parent brings their child, they've only done what?
Half.
Not even half. Part of their job. They shouldn't think, hey, if I pull up in front of the masjid, open the door, kick them out the door, and skirt, and I skid off, I've done my job. No. You got to bring them to the mosque, you got to sit down, and you got to make sure that they what? They listen. You got to make sure that they listen. And if they don't listen, you have to do the little things that parents do to what? To make sure the child knows that, hey, I'm watching you and I have certain expectations. Maybe you need to have a talk with them on the way over. That I don't expect you to be talking, I expect you to be listening, whatever you have to do. Then when they listen, after they listen, you need to make sure that they what? They understand that the information, they are actually absorbing it and digesting it. Which means what? On the way home, do a little review with them. And what did we talk about today? What did you learn? And if they say something that indicates that they didn't really understand, then you need to correct their misunderstanding. Then after that, you need to make sure that they are applying it. That they're applying what they're learning. Which means, for example, we talked about not lying. And that a Muslim doesn't lie. So what if they were to make a mistake and lie? You need to basically point that out and emphasize that and stress the point that Islam is a religion of truth and the believers are people of truthfulness. Like that. So you have to reinforce the things that they're learning and make sure that they're applying it. And then last but not least, certainly not least, is you have to set an example. We can't be the parents who say, do as I say, not as I do. We need to set an example. You can't tell your child to pray and you don't pray. You can't tell your child to tell the truth and you lie. You can't tell your child to listen in class and you're on the phone or you're out in the pavilion. You have to set the example. We have to be the example. Because our children are more likely to do as we do than they are to do as we say. So that's what I wanted to point out before we start the class. I hope it's a benefit. That's fun, Sheikh.
It means role model.
Yeah, be a role model. Good job. All right. طيب. So now we come to that fourth and final visit of Ibrahim. And Ibn Abbas, he mentioned in Bukhari that Ibrahim, he remained in Palestine with his family for the length of time that Allah willed. And then he said to his family, he said, I'm going to go and visit my son. I'm going to go and check on him. I'm going to go check on Ismail. And this time, he found Ismail. Although he missed him on the previous visit, this time, he found him. He found him underneath a tree, sharpening his arrows. Sharpening his arrows. Underneath the tree, close to the well of Zamzam. So when father and son finally saw each other after all this long time, what do you think happened?
They hugged.
What do you think happened, Sheikh? What do you think happened?
They hugged,
Yeah.
said what's happening.
Yeah. So they hugged each other. They did what people do when they haven't seen each other for a long time and they love each other, right? So they hugged each other, they embraced, they took each other's hands and they what?
Kissed it.
They kissed those hands and they cried. To the point that Ibn Hajar, he said they cried so much that the birds, they cried too. From all their crying. Okay? So ثم بعد ذلك Ibrahim, he said to Ismail, he said, Allah has given me a command, given me a directive, told me to do something. And Ismail said, do whatever Allah has instructed. I'm in favor of it, whatever it is. If it came from Allah, I'm fully supportive. So then Ibrahim said, will you help me with it? Whatever it is, will you assist me? And so Ismail said, of course, I will assist you no matter what it is. So Ibrahim said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded me to build a house of worship on this spot. And he pointed to the spot in the valley close to Zamzam, and the tree where Ismail had been sitting. So he pointed to that spot and said, this is where we need to what? To build this house, and I need you to help me do it. Okay? And this seems like a good time to talk about the history of al-Kaaba. Okay? So let's talk about that. The beginning of the Kaaba begins with the beginning of man. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually sent the angel Jibreel to Adam and told him to build a house of worship and showed him the spot where he should build it. And it's the same spot where the Kaaba sits today. So, as he was commanded, he built it. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he ordered him to circle around it. Ordered him to circle it. To start this ibadah of a tawaf. And then he told Adam, he said, أنت أول الناس وهذا أول بيت وضع للناس. He said, you are the first man, and this is the first house of worship built for mankind. So by that, what happened? Abdullah ibn Amr, he said that after that, some time passed, and then there was this period where there was a lot of flooding and torrential rains. And so what ended up happening was one of two things. Either the Kaaba got covered, it sunk into the earth and got covered, or it got washed away. And when that happened, all you had was what? The ground, and the Kaaba was no longer there. To the point that Abdullah ibn Amr, he said, the prophets used to come to make pilgrimage, and they didn't find the house. And they didn't know its exact site because it was no longer there. And this continued for a number of generations until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he did what? He guided Ibrahim to the spot where the Kaaba had been and told him to what? To rebuild it. Told him to what? To re-erect it. He guided him to the spot. And Allah talks about that in the Quran. He says, وَإِذْ بَوَّأْنَا لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ مَكَانَ الْبَيْتِ. And when we designated the site of the house for Ibrahim. Right? So Allah guided him to the spot. Told him, Ibrahim, this is the spot. Right? On that site, the site that Allah guided him to, Ibrahim and Ismail, they started what? Raising the foundation, re-establishing the foundation, and then doing what? Raising the walls of al-Kaaba. And Ibrahim, he took on the responsibility of what? Of building it. And Ismail would do what? Would bring the stones. Would bring the stones needed to rebuild the Kaaba. And Allah talks about this in the Quran as well. He says, وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَعِيلُ رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. He says, and mention to them, when Ibrahim was raising the foundations of the house, and Ismail was there with him, and they were praying, our Lord, accept this from us. Verily you are the all-seeing, all-knowing. طيب. Then by that, what happened, obviously, because you guys know the Kaaba is very tall, okay? It got to a point where Ibrahim could no longer do what? He could no longer build the walls just standing on the ground. So Ismail brought him what? Brought him a stone that he could stand on to build what? The upper levels of the house. And this stone became known as Maqam Ibrahim, the platform of Ibrahim. Okay? And this is what Allah is referring to in the Quran when He says, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. He says, and take from the platform of Ibrahim a place of prayer. Okay? Now this stone, what happened to it?
It got stolen.
The actual, no, it didn't get stolen, I promise.
It gets stolen.
I promise you it didn't get stolen, I promise. It didn't get stolen, okay? So what happened? A miracle from Allah occurred. Generally, when you stand on the stone, what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens. But by Allah's will, when Ibrahim stood on this stone, his feet did what? They made an impression. They made an impression in the stone itself. And the impression of this stone remained for centuries, all the way up until the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay? It remained in there. Anas, he said, not only were the feet prints in the stone, but the definition of the feet prints, the impression, was very detailed. To the point that you could see what? You could see the shape of his what? Of his toes, and even the arch of what? Of his foot. Okay? But look at it now. Do you see that now? You know why? Because the people came, and when they saw this, what they considered to be a sacred stone where Ibrahim's feet were, what did they want to do? What do you think they wanted to do?
Stand on it.
Not stand on it. They wanted to do what?
Touch it.
They wanted to touch it. Touch it and do what? Rub themselves, because they thought that the stone had what?
Blessing.
Blessing, barakah. So the people kept doing that and doing that. And over time, what happened? Those details what? They got wiped away. They got wiped away such that the shape, the outer shape of the foot remains, or the feet remain, but not what? The details. Because the people kept doing what? Wiping. Now I want to ask you, were they told to wipe?
No.
Were they told that there was some blessing?
No.
They were just told to do what? To pray at it. As Qatada, he said, they were never told to wipe it. They were just told to what? To pray at it. But they did something that Allah did not tell them to do. They went beyond what they were told to do. Alright. So now at this point, father and son have completed the construction. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He told Ibrahim, He gave Ibrahim another command. And He said, I want you to invite people to make hajj, to make pilgrimage. He said, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ يَأْتِيكَ مِنْ كُلِّ فَجٍ عَمِيقٍ. He says, and invite people to perform pilgrimage, and they will come on foot, on every lean camel, and from every distant mountain pass. So Ibrahim, he said, I'm at your service, Allah. I'm ready to do whatever you tell me to do, but how am I going to make my voice reach what? Reach the people outside of what? My proximity. How can I make my voice reach what? The corners of the world. So Allah told him, He said what? All you have to do is call. إِنَّمَا عَلَيْكَ النِّدَاءُ. All you have to do is what? Call. وَعَلَيْنَا الْبَلَاءُ. And we are going to make it reach those corners. So what did Ibrahim do? He called. He called like Allah told him to call. And do you know that his voice reached every corner of the world? Everybody heard it. Even the unborn children in the womb, they heard the call of Ibrahim. Every rock, every tree, everything. The clay in the earth heard what? Heard Ibrahim. And everyone who heard it and everyone who hears it and comes to know about it till the day of judgment, they responded. How do you think they responded? Huh? Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Here I am, O Allah. Here I am at your service. So that's lesson number 6. And let's go to the lesson. The first lesson is there's no shame, there's no fault, there's no aib on a man who informs his wife about his future plans. He tells her where he's going to go, how long he'll stay, when he'll return, and he does that. Why do you think he does that? So she doesn't worry. And there's no harm in that. Okay? But number 2, it is permissible to stand up to greet or receive a visitor or someone who has come from a journey. And we're going to talk about this more at the end, because there's some issues with this, with standing up for someone. But the first lesson, or the first thing I want you to know, is that it's permissible to stand up to greet someone or receive them if they're coming from a journey. Okay? But number 3, this part of the story also tells us the love that a father and son should have for one another. Let me see a show of hands if you love your father. Let me see. All those hands should shoot up. There we go. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Perfect. Allahu Akbar. Play. All right. Now listen to this. Number 4. Father and son should not feel shy or consider it shameful to openly show their emotions and display their love for one another. So now I saw all those hands shoot up. Now how many of those people who put their hands up will actually tell their dad, I love you, Dad? Let's see the hands now. No shame in that, right? I love you, Dad. How many of you will kiss him on his head? How many of you will hug him in public? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, don't be afraid to show your emotions and your love for your father, okay? Don't hesitate. All right, number 5. We also learn from this story, this part of the story, the humility of Ibrahim. Notice, Ibrahim's the boss. He's the dad, right? So if he wants to build the Kaaba and he wants Ismail to help, he could say what?
Help.
Look, I'm going to build this and you help me. Go get the stones. Yallah. He could do that, right? But he didn't do that. He said, I'm going to do this. Will you help me? He asked him to help me. And we shouldn't think that just because we're the boss, we always have to boss people around. There's no harm in being what? Humble. You're never wrong by being humble and asking someone who you're able to what? To tell. Next one, number 6. It is perfectly permissible for someone who's in a position of what? Authority. They're someone who they're older, they're senior. They can consult somebody who is junior. Right, exactly. So what do you think, Hussein? Should we go to this park or should we go to this place? They can consult you. There's no harm in that, right? They can ask you what you think, right? Even though they're the boss, okay? Next one. Number 7. Another thing we learned is that the Kaaba is very ancient. Very ancient. How ancient is the Kaaba? How old is the Kaaba?
More than 2,000 years old.
Maybe more than that. Because the Kaaba, it started with what? With Adam. Okay? It started with Adam. Alright. Number 8. Another thing we learned is that Ibrahim and Ismail, they have a lot of virtues. They have a lot of things that they did and they accomplished, which makes them what? Have a special status. One of the things that they did that gives them a special status is what? They built or rebuilt al-Kaaba. Good. All right. We also learned about this what? This maqam. This station of Ibrahim. And how his feet prints were what? Impressed in there. With all of their details. But those details got wiped away. Okay? But were the people told to do that?
No.
So if they do that, then what are they doing? They're doing a type of bid'ah, innovation, right? Because they weren't told to wipe it, they were told instead to do what? Pray. And if there were anything good in wiping it, Allah would have what? Would have told us to wipe it, right? He would have told us to wipe it. Last but not least, Allah is able to do all things. Who can tell me where we get that from? Where do we get that message? Where do we learn that lesson that Allah is able to do all things? Jibril.
When he made the prophets would go to every corner.
Ahsan, when he made it reach what? Every corner. Ahsan. All right. And with that, we will close. Any questions? Any comments? Any complaints? Well, sure. What are you talking about? That was forever, man. Any questions, comments, complaints? Tafaddali, bil wara.
And Muhammad was the first person for the Kaaba, but later on in the verse, it mentioned Ibrahim was the first people.
And
So can you explain that?
it mentions in the verse, Ibrahim was what?
that Ibrahim and Ismail were the first people or something of the sort.
You're talking about the verse in Al-Baqarah? وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْمَقَامِ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ الْقَوَاعِدِ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلُ رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. That one?
I believe it was before that,
Before that.
where it said that they were the first people to, when they were going to walk around it.
I don't think it says that. I'm trying to remember what the verse is before that. تفضل وإسماعيل والقائمين والعاكفين والركع السجود. That one. So that one just says, and when we made the covenant with Ibrahim and Ismail that they would purify our house for the people who would circle around it and the people who would make al-i'tikaf in it or near it, or ruk'a, the people who prostrate, was sujood. Or ruk'a is sujood, and the people who make prostrate, people who bow and make prostration. There's a verse in Surah Al-Imran where it says, "Inna awwala baytin wudi'a lin-nasi bi Bakkah, alladhi bi Bakkah, mubarakan wa hudan lil-alamin. Fihi ayatun Bayinatin Maqam Ibrahim." So that verse, it says, indeed the first house that was placed for people is the place at Becca, which is another word for Mecca. It was the first house that was placed, and it says, Fihi ayatun bayinatun Maqam Ibrahim. In it are signs that are clear, manifest. Maqam Ibrahim, the station of Abraham. But it doesn't say that he was the one who built it first. Any other verse that you're thinking of?
No, that clarified it.
Okay. Like, I'll tell them.
Isn't there like security around the stone? So like nobody knows.
I mean, nowadays, yeah, they have pretty good security around the black stone.
Isn't there like a glass?
Well, yeah, they put like this little, it's almost like it's silver. Silver, like little, it's almost shaped like this. And then the stone is inside there. Yeah, so yeah, they do that.
Is it see-through?
Huh?
Is it see-through?
The stone?
No, it's still
Well, there's a hole. So there's nothing to see through. You can actually reach in there and touch it. And people do that. People do that. Huh? Yeah, they do wipe it. All right, any other questions?
How are the footprints like so deep?
Why the footprints so deep? It's probably, again, from the wiping. Again, from all that wiping. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Any questions, comments? Sheikh. Going once. Going twice. Gone. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
Oh, you just go off.
Like, doing this usually. How's everything for yourself? How's your family?
Alhamdulillah. Imam, you talk to the Imam here?
About
We're done with it. We're good with that.
Yeah, he wrote me a check. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. I just want him.
Allah is okay. May Allah reward you for checking up on me. Allah is okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
الذي ببكة مبارك.
بكرة الساعة 3 بكرة الساعة 3 نتعشى مع بعض هنا وعبد الله العشاء بعد المغرب. لا احنا نتقابل
السلام ورحمة الله. كيف الحال يا شيخ؟ منذ مدة ما رأيناك. كل شيء تمام؟ الحمد لله. ما في داعي ما في داعي. الله يخليك الله يكرمك.
الطاولة صغيرة ما شاء الله.
This one? It was actually a gift. I want to get some more, but I don't know where to get them from. There was a brother in Detroit. There was a brother in Detroit? Yeah. His name is Saeed. No. He was actually an American guy. I don't know where he got it from. I'm not sure. But he gave it to me, and I love these hats. But it's just a matter of where to get it from. Really? Where you from? Oman. I thought you were going to say Oman. So then you're the connection then. Is it something you can order online?
No. We have it there.
Really? But I can't order it from there online. There's no store that sells it online. Really?
They can bring you.
Really? Are you serious? Why would you? Yeah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر
This thing is cool.
الله